One of the best things that make us happy is when we do things for others.
If that voice is inside of me, you'll see it in my body language.
Having smart people around you can give you a lot of reality check.
My mantra is finite heartbeats, infinite possibilities.
It is so hard to be humble, and yet the only way to learn is to be humble.
Failure really is an opportunity to make another choice, and it's hard not to personalize it.
So I think a key word here, which is I think is very important, is if we stay closer to our own truth, and nobody knows what that is except us.
Right.
Nobody knows, and nobody even, we can have, in my opinion, you may feel differently. I don't think psychologists or coaches or anybody can know that except us. They can trigger us to find it, but at the end of the day, nobody knows us as well as we know ourselves.
We can never be in the other person's head, is another.
We can never be in the other person's head.
Yeah.
So if we get close to our truth, the level of anxiety will go down. Our decision making, I think, the clarity of thought would begin to be much more prevalent. Our decisions would improve. Yes. Our commitments to those decisions would improve. And if we get all of that, then the outcomes would likely improve because it's aligned with our truth.
Right.
Right.
And we reduce noise.
And it would reduce noise.
There's a lot of ways.
When you reduce noise, you're essentially reducing risk.
Right. And there's a lot of noise and much communication, which either leads to suboptimal decisions or bad decisions even.
Yeah.
But also disconnection. And, you can think of this with a business partner, for instance, that also creates resentment over time, et cetera. I mean, let's take an entrepreneur example, just the last example here. But, when I did my startup, I started with $250. So I always had cash flow issues. And so, when you're in the beginning of your building of your company, you're usually negotiating some kind of sales, right? Some kind of sales you're doing, some kind of deals or products, some kind of revenue. And when you're in the beginning, there's this tension, between all the things going on, making the sale and cash flow and all the stuff that's in the back of your mind, strategic partnerships, hiring, product development issues. In the beginning, there's usually lots of things going on. And usually when you're looking at a big sale near the beginning, that could really make a big difference on your cash flow, right? It could lessen the pressure without a doubt. If you lose a sale, it could really increase cash flow pressure and
life and death decisions in a way.
It can feel that way, absolutely. So where does your anxiety yield, right? Because if you put the price higher, you're going to create more cash. It's going to relieve pressure. It's going to give you more flexibility on whatever you're doing, product development, et cetera. So, this issue is, where is your anxiety more about losing the deal or not maximizing the profit? And we assign meanings to those things, and they both could be failure. Like, oh, I didn't get enough for the deal. Like, I didn't get enough for the sale, or I lost the sale. That can certainly feel like failure, and it has practical implications. This is not just something running around in our head. And so these things connect. And if you stay calm and you're thoughtful and you're probing the customer to figure out where that price point is, you'll get to, maybe not the perfect solution, but an optimal, near optimal solution, which is really all you can do. You never really know. So I think that's a common problem in the beginning. And let's correlate that with, if you're a young entrepreneur, especially, right? If you start your company at 40, you probably have some business experience you can draw on to deal with that. But if you're 23, maybe not, right? Maybe you don't have any or much experience, certainly. So anyway, this sort of encapsulates these examples of the power is within self. Others don't trigger us. We generate the thinking based on the meaning we assign. And as soon as you feel the slightest emotional response, that's the indicator to you that you're assigning a meaning. In other words, and likely a faulty meaning. And that's where you have to sit with that and say, okay, that's where I got triggered when he or she said this.
So let me see if before we say goodbye, see if I can kind of repeat what I learned.
Okay.
We get triggered, and that by external things. And sometimes it could be us triggering ourselves because we're looking at things differently. There's no third party. And most of the time, it's really us that's triggering ourselves based on some event, some situation. And that creates anxiety. It disrupts our calmness, which is what we want to, most of us want to be the calmness. And it is this notion that if we're closer to our truth, if we are closer to our truth, we could look at situations, we could look at why we got triggered in certain way. And as we do that, we can probably never remove completely, but at least we know the why, and we can reduce the impact on our calmness. Thanks for watching. You can catch the full Expert Circle sessions through the links in the description or the pinned comment below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you inside the Academy.